Hi all, welcome to my... You know what, I've changed my camera. I prefer this camera rather than looking head on. It looks too clinical head on, so I've got no barriers between us now. That's beside the point. Today I'm going to be doing stages 51 to 56 of the Fanhome release, a build to Fast and Furious Toyota Supra. Now, once again, I haven't looked at the instructions, but it looks like we're playing around with pipes and wires and stuff. So I can see this being a little bit fiddly. Now, I do think this is still available. I have put my links in the video description, but all of my links are just down here. So if you scan that with your phone and follow that QR code, you'll see all my links to all of my builds and my Amazon store, and I think my merch store as well. But car is up on the workstation, so without further ado, let's get cracking. So here we go, we've got stage 51. What exactly are we doing today? This is the magazine, and we've got the Firewall Panel. Not much to do in this one by the look of it, but we're going to be putting this together here. Are we detaching or attaching? Finally connects yet. We are attaching a lead to the engine bay there as well by the look of it. So that's going to be how it looks. So here we go, stage 51. Now I haven't done a build for a while because obviously I've been away. So I am back now. And well, let's see what we go through this week. This is the firewall here. And first thing I've got is this connects the relay. So it's a relay that I'm going to be putting in. It's actually going to be going on this side of the firewall, and it has got a D-shaped lug. So it's just a pushing, getting it all the way, and it's going to hold itself in place like that. I've then got the end of the brake pump to put in, which looks like this. Again, it's a D-shaped hole. It can only go in one way. This one, though, is held in from the other side with a CP screw. So get that in there. Which means finally we do have this pipe here, which is a fuel line. And I'm hoping I'm not going to need to glue this, but this is going to go the other side of this silver... Is this a pump here? Just like that. So this is hanging off this side here. And that is all there is to do in that stage. So swiftly on to stage 52. Here is the instructions, and I'm guessing we're now working on that firewall. So we've got the Brake Reservoirs, you'd be happy that I can pronounce that, and Brake Boosters. Lots of pipes. This looks a little bit funky. Putting this together like that, and then attaching this to the firewall. Okay, I'm thinking I'm going to keep these in the bag because they're individually wrapped for a reason. They're going to be different lengths, I think. We don't have to cut them down. But let's have a look at this. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to be putting the brake pump, which is this shaft just here, into the center of this servo here, which is going to be like that. Holding it in with a BP screw. Now, obviously getting over the absolutely superb Spacecraft's model show, I am trying to get my voice back. So it's very deep at the moment. There you go, that's in place. Now I've got a pivot to put into place, which is looking like this. This is going to be going again, a D-shaped pattern into the point here, and this is just a push in, which is a D-shaped lug again. It does take some pushing, but there you go, that's in there. So I want the shortest of the orange hoses, which is this one in this bag, which is already bent on my one. Look, I've got this kink in there. Now sometimes soaking that in hot water will take that kink out. But for now, I'm going to put this into place, which is basically going on one side here, pushing that all the way to the end. And I'm going to need me tweezers, because the other side is going into the lug here. There we go, that's into place. Okay, put that to one side while I bring over the brake line. And this is the reservoir bottom here now. I want the shortest of these wires. Let me think. It's going to be one of these. I want the shortest one out of these two cables here. They don't look too bad, but it's going to be this one. The bags aren't labelled, so it is taking a wild guess. That's going to be going onto this little nipple here. Again, a lot of wiggling to get this into place. If you are struggling, I put my tweezers down the ends here and just pull back just to let that open a little bit there. Now I should be able to get that in. As you can see, this is going to be sitting on top of this section just here, like that. And it's going to be held in with an AP screw just from the top. Little bit of a challenge because we've got a cable in the way. There we go, that's good, that's attached. And then I get to put the cap on the top, which can only go in one way for it to fit square on here. And you've just heard that clip into place there. And then I've got the cap going on top of this, just into the middle like that. So this is built up quite well. We're then in a position to put the back on. So if I'm holding it like that, I want this on this way, lining up all the holes. And again, I'm holding those in with 3 AP screws. Now I need the really long blue lead. Let's get that one out. And once again, I'm going to be putting this onto the nipple just on the side here. And it's going to be the same way that I'm going to need to open this out a little bit, just to get that into place. Just like that. Get it all the way down there. Excellent. Now we don't want this to be snagged in here because I'm about to put this onto the firewall that you can see here. As you can see, we've got 2 holes just here. This is where this is going to go. On top like this, and again it's held in with AP screws. And there we go, that's into place on the firewall. We've got a couple more pipes to put in. This blue pipe that's left here is going to be going on the, got 3 nipples here, it's going to go on the furthest one on this side, and then we've got an orange pipe now, which is going on the white nipple just here. Again, as you can see, I'm wiggling that into place. And with all of those pipes in, there's a lot going on there, as you can see. That's all there is to do in that stage. So stage 53. Here's the instructions. Looking like this. Again, lots and lots of pipes. Okay, we're going to be putting this into place here. So this is how this is looking. And again, we're putting some pipes on the engine. There's quite a lot to do here. Look at this. Wow. This is going to be a busy pack. Now, I'm going to get my soft cloth out now, because first thing I need is the bonnet, looking like that. I'm just going to put that to one side while I bring over stage 53, which is here. Let's get all of these parts out. First thing I need is this section here, which they're saying is the hood lighting, to the 2 holes in the hood reinforcement. This is basically going to be going into the 2 holes here and here. So I'm just going to push that into place. It should hold itself in like that. Excellent. We can now put that to one side. Right, let's bring over the firewall, which we've got here, and we've got these 2 long, what are these? One of the brake booster vacuum hose. Now one's 53K, one's 53J. It looks like 53J is longer. So on 53J, the longest one, going on the bottom of the nipple just here. And then the shorter one on the nipple at the top. I do think we now have a record for the amount of times I've said that word in a single video. Now I need cable 53B, which is this one here, which is quite a thick blue cable. There are 2 which are similar sizes, but this one's thinner. This is 53G. I want the thicker one. Oops, I've just gone and chucked that one down the back of the workshop. I'll just get that in a second. Only me. Only me. Okay, so this is going to be going onto the nipple here. We'll wiggle that one into place. And there we go. That one's in. Okay. Quite a mess of wires at the moment, but put that to one side. I'm going to be putting together the parts for the brake distributor now, which means I need these 2 sections here. Now the lugs are different sizes, so this can only go in one way, but that's in just like that. Now if I just bring over the car again, you can see I've got these two holes just here. This is going to be pushing in to the positions there, and it's going to be held in with AP screws from the other side. So this is going to be a little bit tricky. Because it's got this notch on the side, it can only go in one way. But if I put it on the side like that, I think I can get a screw under here. And once I've got one in, it's going to be easy to get the second one in. Okay, that's good. So 53G, which was the one that I just chucked at the back of my workstation desk. One side is going into this nipple, hopefully you can see it, just here. So that's standing up just by itself. The other side of this is going to be going into the nipple of the part we just put in, but the one nearest to this wall here. And there you go, that's that one in. Put that to one side again. Got some more little parts to do now. I need one of these blue cables, 53D, and one side's going to be going into this detail here. Push that on. The other side of this is going into this detail here to the nipple at the side, like that. Okay, let's bring over the car again. Now when you put this in, you want to do it the different way round to the magazine, because they're basically going to go into the hole here and here. Put the bottom one in first. So let's get that into the slot now. I'm just seeing it's just a round fitting, but that's in there. And then put the top one in, which goes into the hole just at the top here. Now that should be facing off in this direction here, as you can see. I'm just going to move that around the dipstick there. That's it. And it should go down there. Now the one lead that I just chucked off the edge, which is this one here, is now going to be going onto these points. So one at the top here. Get that wiggled down. And the other end is going on top of the bit that I've just mounted first down the bottom. There's some insane detail on here. There you go. Hopefully you can see all of that, but there's a lot going on. Let's put that to one side. This stage is going on for a while, isn't it? I really do need to tidy the wires up here. As you see, all of my insulating tape from last pack has come away. I've got one more connector here, which I'm going to need to put into place. It's actually just going into the hole here. So I'll push that down and I'll make sure I'm not pinching any wires, and that's into place there. We're not actually attaching anything to that at the moment, but that's in there again, going off in this direction. Okay, let's put that to one side. And I've got now a brake hose connector, and we've got some brake hoses here. Let's get these out. Now, one of these is longer, of these black things. I'm just going to see which one it is, which is this one here. So this one is M, and this needs to be on the right hand side of this connector here. That's the longer one. So by the process of elimination, the other one goes on this side. So let's bring this engine over again. So I'm going to want to put this connector into the hole that you can probably see just there. And there you go, that's into place. So the short side of this brake line is going to be going onto the bottom nipple just here. Hopefully you can see this. Of this section. And wiggle in that into place. There you go. And then the long one, there's actually, underneath this unit here, there's a hole for this to go into, which is in the side of the engine bay. I'm going to feed it through the hole. There you go, it's being fed through. And if I turn this upside down, we should see where this is coming out. There you go, it's coming out here. Just like that, which means it's this side of the brake hub here. So I'm going to be able to connect this up. Now, you see here on top of the caliper, we do have a nipple just here. So I want to grab that line and plug that into that there. Wiggle that down. So there we go, that's connected. And with that done, that's all there is to do in that stage. God, that stage took an age. Okay, stage 54. Here's the instructions. And again, a whole lot of detail parts here that we're going to be creating. So it's looking like this. This is the electronic control unit, the ECU. Putting this together here, it looks like we're mounting this into the engine as well. So that's looking like that. Some stickers to go on here. And there you go. I've just looked. Stage 55, there doesn't seem to be much to do. I just looked at stage 56 though, and I'm like, oh my God. Okay, now look, this part here has already got the wires in for us. That's handy. But again, we are back to insane levels of detail here. So these are going in an order. It's feeding these into this chrome section, and they need to be blue, then white. It's probably best to lay them out this way. So if we go blue, then white, then yellow, then red, and then black. So that's the order that they're going to go in. Get these into here. So each one has its own little point in here. And then I'm going to be putting the top on. And I'm holding it in with an AP screw. And there you go. That's in. That was tricky. That was very tricky. I do have a little detail to put in the end here, which is another connector. So that just pushes in like that. And then let's just bring all of these parts over here, because I need to bring this over again. And this is going to go into those two holes that we saw just on top there. So it is a push in, and it sits in just like that. Okay, put that to one side. Now I've got a bracket, and I'm going to be having some pipes that we're going to be putting into this. And I want the smallest of the blue pipes we get on this stage. This is going to be going into this bracket just at the side here. Bringing the engine over again. And this has actually got lugs, which is going to go underneath the section we just put in just here. And I'm going to be pushing these down. So I need my tweezers. So I can push this onto the points there. And just underneath here. So there we go. That's into place. Now the lead we just got here, this is actually going to be going into the position just here, just so you know. Just like that. So it's probably simpler to actually put the lead that we just put in into the right hand side of this now. Again, not the easiest thing you'll do today, but that's in. And then put this into position on here. So once again, we want an AP screw, because that's going to be held in from the underside. And it's going to be a bit tricky to get to because you've got the wheel in the way. But I've managed it. And that is screwed into place. Perfect. So we've got another very short blue lead, which is going to go on the other side of this. Here. Let's wiggle that one on. And then the other side of that is going to be going onto the lead with all those coloured wires that we had right at the start. So that's in there like that. I've then got this bracket to go in, which again pushes on top of a lug that I've got here. So I'm using my tweezers just to push that down. So now that's sitting on top like that. Put that to one side. And I've got these cylinders here now, which are going to have these decals on. Now these are actually stickers. So you don't want to be soaking these into water. Get them on and just roll them around to keep them level. Once you've done one, just do the other side. Now make sure they're the right way round, because one side's got a hole in. In fact, another way to do this is to actually put it down and then just roll it actually on your mat like that, so it comes out there. Okay, now you can probably guess where these are going to go. They're actually going on the section we just put in. So the blue one's going on here. And the red one's going on here. I've got one more pipe to put in, but we can put the engine to one side because we're working back on the firewall. And this one is going to go on the nipple that we got left just at the top here. So let's rock that into position on the brake servo. And there you go. That is all there is to do in that stage. So much detail. Okay, stage 55. There don't look to be this much to do in this one. I could be wrong. As you can see, lots of screws, and we've got a right engine bay panel, which we are going to be putting into the car. We've got some details to put on this here, and then we're just going to be screwing this into place like that. So get this one open. So what I'm going to do is just take these two parts here, and I'm just going to put them together. This is part of the relay, this way round, held in with an AP screw. And once I've done this, I'm going to be taking this all metal panel here and putting this into place. So this is actually going to be going into the position just here. So it's sitting on top. And this time, because it's metal, we're going into AM screw territory. So one at the top and one at the bottom here. And now that's it. I can bring the car over and we're going to be attaching this into position. So what I want to do is see we've got the suspension here. I want to make sure the suspension fits snugly into that section just there. So I'm going to line that up first. Make sure I'm not pinching any wires. That looks good. Put this over the top here and get this into place. Now, to ensure that nothing goes anywhere, I'm going to use an EM screw first, and this is going to be holding that suspension shock absorber into place on the strut mount here. Hard to line up, but as you can see, that one's in there. Then I need BM screws, and this is what's going to hold this in to the chassis here. So get these into position. We need 3 of these, so one here, one in the middle here, and then one just on the end over this side. Then I need IP screws, and that's going to be lining the wheel arch with the panel we just put in. So one here and one just down here. And then finally, I'm going to be turning this upside down without letting the engine touch my floor, because I've got to put some screws into the bottom, and I want an AM screw to be going towards the front end. Just put a box here. There you go. So that one's going in there. And then I just need a BM screw just to do the one at the back here. And with that in place, that was actually quite tricky. But that's all there is to do in that stage, which means the last stage of this pack, there looks to be a lot to do in this one. Oh, let's have a look. Okay, I mean, the recording time at the moment is already an hour. It's all pipes. There's the cluster RBS module, the cruise control module. We're doing modules. So we're going to create this whole thing here, and it looks like we get to fit it as well. So yeah, they're leaving us on big stage. And let's see how we get on with this. So we've got a free canister cover fitting that I'm going to be putting on first. There is locating lugs, so this can only go in one way. I'm pushing these together. Perfect. Now at the top here, I've got these connectors to put on, and I'm just going to push these in, and they go off in different directions. By the look of it, so we can attach one of the pipes to it. There you go. That's how that's looking. Bringing over what we've created here, this is going to be going into the point just there. It's held in with an AP screw. Of course, this is going in from the underside, but that's into place. Put that to one side, and I'm going to be making a cruise control unit now. So these two parts are just going to be going together like this to line up the holes on each side. They're going to be held in with AP screws. Now I've got a really long blue lead, which is all wrapped up in here. I need this lead now, and it is long. I mean, check that out. This is going to be going onto the nipple, which is coming out of the bottom here. Now, I've done this completely out of order, so I'm just going to leave this as it is at the moment. It's because I've turned 2 pages at once, which I didn't mean to do, because I'm going to be creating the ABS module here. So I'm going to need this section here. This is how we should have started this stage. Lucky I did this before I attached anything. Put this canister in the middle here, or this cap. So that's looking like that. Then I've got 2 smaller ones to put in, which are actually in a bag. So one there. And one there. That's how that's looking. Lots of leads to go on now. We want the shortest blue one first, which I believe is this one, which will be going onto the top. There's so many nipples on the back of this, but that's going to go into the top there. And then the other side of this is going into this one here. Then I need the next size up, which is the next blue one, which is slightly longer. One side into the nipple on the side here, and the other side onto this big one here, and then the other side onto this big one here. Then I need the shorter black lead here, which I believe is this one actually, which goes in here on one side. The other side is going into this T-shaped connector I've got, like that. Then I've got a slightly longer lead, which is coming out of this connector, and that's just hanging at the moment. We haven't got a place for that one yet. Then we should have 2 leads together, which is in this pack. These are 2 black leads. One goes in the nipple we've got left here. Again, rocking that into position. The other one onto the nipple just at the top here, which means there's a vacant nipple just at the bottom at the moment. And I think they're all into place. There's a lot going on, isn't there? Okay, bring the engine over. So I want it the same way around the instructions I've got it, otherwise I'm gonna get so confused. And basically I want this to fit over the 2 holes that we've got here. Now one of these is a lug and one of them's for a screw. So if I put the lug in first to line it up, and I'm holding it in with an IM screw, which goes in there. There we go, that's mounted that into place. So just moving some of these out. Now once again we do have a lead here, which is coming off the right hand side, which needs to connect to that brake. So I'm going to pass it through the hole in the chassis here, just like this, and then connect that to the caliper. Now we've got another hose here, a really thick one this is. We're going to be putting this into place now. So one end of this black lead is going to be going on to, hopefully you can see it, the nipple just at the bottom here. So I'm going to rock that into position. That's just going to stay loose. Put that to one side, and basically this is where I started this stage, because as I said, I just mixed the page. We obviously put one part in already and we were creating this. We're now going to be mounting this into the car, which actually goes around what we've just put in here. So this is going to be fitting on top. So if I can turn this around, so basically the way this is going in, it's going to be this way round, and this detail here is going to go onto the hole that we can see just there. It's actually going to be held in with an IM screw. So I'm going to get this in now. Then I've got the canister tubes to put in. Let's get this right. One of these coming from this side over here is going to be going into here. It's all orange leads this is, and the 2 that we get in this stage will be going into the nipples here. And finally over here. There's so many of these pipes that we're going to need to connect up afterwards. Now it looks like they've actually traced this around here, that lead. But with that done, that's all there is to do in that stage. That's all there is to do in that pack. Once again, look, this is one of the things that just keep coming off on this build, and I am wondering, do I leave this off? I am. I'm going to leave this part off for now, because this comes off in every pack, and I really don't want to break it. So I will put that on. I know where it goes at the end. It actually goes on there. So I'll leave that off. But that's all there is to do in that pack. Not going to lie to you. That was a difficult pack. That was a very difficult pack. But, you know, we get these now and again. That's what happens. But I really enjoyed it, actually. So let me just show you exactly how that's looking at the moment. Nice. Anyway, I really hope you liked that video. If you did, please remember to give me a thumbs up. Haven't subscribed already, please remember to subscribe. Other than that, take care.